Hello, hello, my
Your
people,
camera is
and
down.
welcome to. I started. Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the code. Today the topic is going to be overcoming adversity, and we have begun already. So, if we can tell you about adversity, let me tell you, we are good at overcoming adversity. I have this lady right here. It's supposed to start at 7 o'clock, and I have these challenges that I have never experienced before, and really, I just tried to keep my cool, and it actually worked out well. We were able to go, so I hope that you can see it correctly. If you have a problem listening to us, or if you have a problem viewing us, please let us know so that we can make the changes. Anyway, today I want to introduce you to my guest. Her name is Maria Erazo, and I believe she's from Mexico. And she is going to be talking about overcoming adversity. And before I start telling you about, oh, she's a motivational speaker, she's like so awesome and all that kind of stuff, you know what? I want her to introduce herself, because it's better to hear it from the horse's mouth than from my mouth. And really, look how beautiful she looks. I mean, she can actually talk about herself. So, Maria, tell us who you are before we actually get into all this adversity stuff. Who is Maria?
Maria Erazo, I am a financial strategist, a business coach, an author, and I also coach people to write and publish their own books. And so that's in a nutshell what I do professionally.
So you say you're an author. What is the title of your book?
Well, I actually have 4 books published. The first one is In Search of My Father. The next one is Uncover Your Brand Identity. And then I have 2 guides, The Power of the Positive Mindset, and then the Time Mastery Guide. So those are my 4 books that I have published.
You're a busy woman, very busy woman we got here. So let's start out with this, overcoming adversity, so that we can understand that you have experienced adversity. Because when we look at you, we look at a beautiful woman. She does not look like she had any difficulties in life. Everything was given to her on a platter. Right? This is what people believe usually. But tell us where you come from, and what was the difficulty of where you come from before we get into all your victories.
Of course. Well, I was born in Mexico, and from in a family where my father, he was an immigrant. He will come to work to the United States, and then he will go back to Mexico. And I was born in the middle of the mountains in Michoacan, Mexico. I mean, and it's a remote location. And when I was 11 years old, my father immigrated again to North America to work, and he brought us from that small village in the mountains to the capital of Michoacan, which is Morelia. It's a big city. So that was a huge, that was the first biggest change for me to adapt, and for my family and my mother. So he left us there. He came to the United States to work, and then a year later he disappeared without leaving a trace of his existence. So my father's abandonment was my first biggest adversity, because I was 11. I was the oldest of 7 children in a city that was unknown to us, to my mom. He was our only financial support. So at that age, I had to become an adult, like pretty fast. Like I had no childhood, because at that age, I was already helping my mom, strategizing with her to find ways to support my siblings, my mom's, and help my mom.
What age did you say you were? What age when this began?
11.
11.
So to help my mom, I couldn't do much. I mean, as far as in the as far as job. So I did the only thing one of the very few things that I was able to do to bring money to the house, and that was selling gum on the streets of Morelia with my 8-year-old brother. So we sold gum on the streets, and we cleaned houses, washed cars, and did all of that. But the biggest, I will say, adversity from that was losing my father, because I was very close to him, and that was devastating. It damaged my identity, my self-worth, and it was the saddest event in my life at that age.
Yeah, that can be very hard, mostly for girls that are close to their dad. It can be a very challenging situation. So tell us more about some of the things then that you did to be able to overcome these adversities in your life. What was the first thing? I mean, I know personally, for me, it was like, I began with complaining. It was, for me, it was like, why does everybody have easy life? Why do they have more than I do? Why do they have a bigger house? Why do they have light and we don't? Why do they have food on the table and we don't? This is kind of stuff. I did a lot of complaining before I actually start making changes. How was it for you?
Oh, of course. I mean, for 10 years, from 11 until 21, those 10 years, I made all kinds of choices out of time. I mean, I was stuck in this very negative emotional state. I decided to start my own family, so I moved in with my boyfriend. At 17, became a mother. At 17, I mean, I was just trying to find somehow to have a family. I was yearning for a family, and I mean, I was, pretty angry at I blame my father for 10 years for everything that happened to me negatively. I blame him. I mean, I was angry. My self-esteem was extremely, I mean, I had no self-esteem during those 10 years, and until I got tired of being so depressed, and I was sick and tired of my own state and complaining so much, and I started taking responsibility for my actions. That was number one. Number two, I decided to forgive my father because I didn't know what had happened to him. So regardless of why he made that decision, I learned at the age of 21 that forgiveness is a decision, and that I had the choice to forgive him, and that helped me to move on. I learned to love and appreciate and accept myself, and that brings me to the next point of what I want to tap in today, which is identity, growing a healthy identity about ourselves. And from that state, my life started to transform.
I like what you said. You started with their responsibility, and a lot of people have a hard time overcoming adversity because, like me, we blame everyone. And you know what? Even if they are at fault, they cannot do anything else for you. Your life is your responsibility. It's up to you if you want to change or not. And that was something hard for me to do, because I felt that the word forgiveness that you use, if I forgive them, then I'm making it easier for them. But forgiving them actually helped me to move on and allow me to live my life. Is that the same thing that happened to you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Forgiveness, it's a gift that we give to ourselves first. And I mean, it helps us to really understand and come from a place of compassion towards those who caused those wounds and pain to us.
That is correct. I'm glad that that you shared that. So tell us more about the exciting things that you did. Okay, I know that right now you are doing a lot of business coaching, and I saw videos of you. So if you guys want to follow her on YouTube, you will be able to see her information right here. It's Erazo.com. You can visit her there. She also has several Facebook pages, so you can also follow her there. This girl is amazing, and let me take away that girl part, because she had went through that stage already. This woman, she knows what she's talking about. So right now, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat, and I'll be happy to let her know what is your question. In the meantime, let's continue and tell us what is, you said responsibility and forgiveness. Okay, so what else can we do? Right now, there's a lot of people going through a difficult time, mostly immigrants. And they say, oh, you're just saying that porque you está en los Estados Unidos and everything is easy in the United States. They are in Latin America. How can they overcome adversity where they are right now?
Yeah, nothing was given to me. And when I say that, I came to this country with no academic, my highest grade of education in Mexico was 9th grade. So I was here, I started most immigrants who come to this country, not knowing the language, I was so young, so I couldn't work anywhere. I was not able to go to school, etc. And it was, everything started by creating a vision and of exactly what I wanted to accomplish, and connecting to a strong reason of why I was committed to succeed. And the reason was, when I became a mother of my oldest son, I was 17, and I remember being in the hospital. His father, he was in jail, so it was when my son was born, and so I was by myself in this hospital room, and with a baby. My mother had gone back to Mexico. I had no one with me, and when I held this baby in my arms, he became my biggest motivation and my why. And from there, I said, I'm going to dedicate my life to become the best version of myself, to educate myself, to learn, to develop success in my own terms, so that I can provide a better life and a future to my son, because I didn't want him to go through everything that I have gone through. So I started learning English by myself. That was very important to succeed and to get ahead in this country. It's very important to learn the language. So I received a gift of a dictionary, and I learned English by myself.
What I like about everything you just said right there is the decision. You made that decision.
Yeah.
And that is the magic right here. Everybody is trying to wait for someone to give them permission to move. And you made that decision. I'm going to go to a commercial break, and when we get back, I want you to elaborate more on that. Okay?
Good.
We'll be right back. Thank you, my friends, for watching The Code. Don't forget that we are here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are bringing you coaches and speakers and classes and experts in different areas in order to help you grow. That's what we are here for. So if you have any comments, questions, or if you are a sponsor, please send us an email to info@envivoassociate.com. Again, info@envivoassociate.com. With your host, Sandra Graves, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for watching The Code. Well, welcome back to The Code. Don't forget that we are here, like I said in my commercial break, every Thursday at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. There is a confusion with this about the time. Oh, you always have to check that it is Texas time, Central Standard Time. And I know that Texas don't have their own clock, but really, check that is Texas time because I am in San Antonio, Texas. But if you are an expert in a particular area and you want to be part of this show, please send us an email to info@envivoassociates.com. And before I went on a commercial break, I was talking about the decision. Everything that she said, she mentioned responsibility, forgiveness, and the whole summary of what she was talking about to begin is decision. She made that decision to change her life and not just wallow in self-pity. So tell us more about that.
Of course, once you made a decision from that space, it's easier to know what actions we need to take. So I became obsessed with uncovering my abilities, my gifts, my unique talents, and started developing them. So I started exploring. I went through a phase of exploring. I started in the entrepreneurship world, and I realized when I became a business owner of my first company 7 years ago, I learned so much through that journey, and I realized how much I needed to learn to succeed in this country and the business world. So I started investing a lot of time, effort, and money into my self-development. I went to every convention, workshop, you name it, that I can think of, and I started learning about marketing, business management, team management, sales, and I became the #1 insurance agent in the country for the company that I owned my agency with, because I just started taking massive action on my development professionally, along with growing emotionally, spiritually, mentally. It has been a journey of consistent growth for the last 10 years of my life. And
well, I want to say, like other people will say, oh yeah, it is so easy for you because you are in America and everything is available to you. Let me tell you before she answers, okay? There's something called the internet, and if you are watching me right now, that means you have access to a lot of information. You heard what she said? She was hungry. She was hungry for information. She was hungry to learn. Whatever it is that you want to learn is out there for you. There is a lady right now listening to us. Her name is Patricia Monjes, and she's the one that connected us. And that woman is amazing. She's from Venezuela, and she does not make excuses. Living, Maduro don't allow me to do this and allow me to do this. No, she makes things happen. And wherever you are, you have to stop making excuses. That's how you overcome adversity. Continue.
Of course. I mean, and once you get to know yourself and you develop, you connect with your passion, you figure out, what your purpose in this life is. Who are you here to serve, and how can you utilize and monetize your own abilities and skills and serve others at the same time? I mean, from that space, anything is possible. Yeah. So, I mean, uncovering, connecting with my own identity. And that's when I started writing these books, because I love stories. I love inspirational stories. So that's why my first book is an inspirational biography about the immigrant story of my family and I. And almost any immigrant can relate to the story, because we all have similar, paths through our immigrant journey. And so I started then utilizing everything that I learned through the writing, everything that I messed up, during the time. I started teaching other people so that I could help them avoid making all those mistakes and wasting so much time and energy. I became a book publishing coach. Everything that I learned by messing up, I went into depression within the first 7 months of opening my company, because I was clueless about how do you grow a business in North America. Like, it was crazy. I mean, I was very successful as a sales rep for another company, but I had no idea how to actually run a successful business. Once I learned how to do it and I was able to grow my company, then I take all those skills and I became a strategy business coach, helping other people to avoid those mistakes. So what I really encourage people to do is,
you said something magical there. The way that you help people avoid mistakes is because you made those mistakes. And a lot of people have a hard time overcoming adversity because they beat themselves up because they made mistakes. Can you elaborate more on that?
Of course. I'm a firm believer that everything is not what happens to us that matters, it's how we react towards that. I believe that every adversity, every challenge is there to teach us a lesson. And it's there to serve our higher purpose, to fulfill our higher purpose. And so I learned it's a mind shift. And that brings me to the last point. Mindset and beliefs shape our destiny and shape our results.
Yes.
However, we get to decide how we are going to, we decide the meaning that for the meaning that we give to the events that happen in our lives. So if we decide to play that victim, to play that entitled mentality, role, then we sit back and wait and blame everyone else. I mean, I have friends that are born in this country. They speak perfect English. They don't have accent. I have accent. I mean, I learned the language by myself, right? I mean,
yes.
I used, so instead of me hiding and saying, oh, I'm embarrassed, I'm not going to do interviews in English, I'm not going to, talk to people because of my accent, I decided to own that, and say, you know what? Well, at least I'm bilingual. At least I understand. At least I'm able to communicate.
Yeah.
So shifting our mindset and, having a positive perspective, a positive view of the events that happen to us, is key to succeed in this country or in any country in the world.
That's right. I like that you say that because that was one of the things that I have when I first came to the United States too. I didn't speak English, and most people immediately just by looking at me, they imagine I have to speak English. And no, I didn't speak English. I just spoke Spanish. And it was very, very difficult, but you don't have a choice. For you to be able to move on, for you to be able to grow, for you to be able to succeed, you have to learn English. Look, you can be in China, you can be in Japan, you can be in India. Everybody knows English. So if you don't know English right now, you are losing money in your pocket already. English is important. When I was in my country, everybody was like, oh, yeah, I want to speak no English. No, everybody's trying to speak English. Okay, it's a decision that you have to make. Whatever obstacle that you have to make that decision to overcome your obstacles. So tell us more about some of the things that you did to overcome your obstacle instead of beating yourself up. Oh, nobody want to give me the opportunity. No one want to help me. Oh, everybody's telling me I have an accent. Instead of going through that, what is it that you did?
Well, I started finding mentors who in my life for different aspects of my life, for my personal development, my health, for my business. And I hire my first coach, and I pay with a credit card. I invested in myself. That's because right. I realized that in order for me to get ahead and to grow professionally, I needed to work with experts and people who had already walked the way. And so I started hiring coaches and working with people, with experts, with mentors, and listen. I started paying attention and listening to them and to their advice, and then taking what I could apply and implement and taking massive action, and really just using my time wisely to just develop, to create the life, to design the life that I wanted. So I went through from working in a factory, 17 years ago, was working in a factory, and I knew that I didn't know, even though I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and in my professional life, I knew that working in a factory was not a choice. I knew that someday I have always been a dreamer. So I knew, I will look at the girls that will come out of the office, like with their nails done, like dressed nicely. And I will say, I'm wondering, what do I need to do? What abilities I need to develop so that I can have an office job? And so I always model successful people, or I model the people who are who I want to be. Mm-hmm. So a couple years later, I had my own office.
That's right.
My own office job. I was already managing an insurance agency and training other employees, because I just knew what I wanted, and I started investing time with the people that helped me to get there. So it's really taking responsibility for our own success, designing it. And I'm the one that I spend a whole day every year in the beginning of the year mapping out and planning and strategizing how I want my year to look like. What are my goals, what resources I need. So just modeling what other successful people are doing, and then searching for the guidance, the training, the skills to get there. It's really, that's what I can tell you.
Well, I like that you said the magic was investing in yourself, and a lot of people have a hard time with that. And mostly you women that love to go shopping, that is not really investing in yourself. That is pampering yourself, and that is okay. But investing in yourself is when you buy things that no one can take away from you. When you buy education, you fill your mind with that kind of food, nobody can steal it away from you. But if you go shopping and all that to be able to have the bling bling and all that kind of stuff, guess what? That goes away, your face goes away, your age goes away, and nothing stays in there. So just like what you said, invest in yourself and model people that are amazing, not women that are gossipy and doing nothing, watching TV all day. If you want to model that, then that's what you're gonna get. Okay, I'm just being honest with you. Okay, so tell us, so that we can finish up, tell us something that the people right now, the women and the men that are listening to you, tell us something that they can do to start overcoming obstacles right now. Let's imagine they started the year, they spent all that money in the holiday. Now they are totally broke. They can't pay the rent. They don't have money in the bank. Now they find out this very bad news that me and you cannot even handle right now. How do they handle that? What would you tell them?
First thing is, stop listening to negative news. Disconnect from the negative world. Just disconnect. Because when you have whatever you put your focus on, that's all that is real for you. Disconnect. Once you disconnect from that, start paying attention to the opportunities that are coming to you. Take action on them. There are trends in the business world, in the marketplace all the time. Trends that come, whoever gets into those trends in the beginning will make it. So thinking like the opposite of everyone else, when everyone is running away from business opportunities, that's when you get in. So uncovering that's why it's so important to uncover your talents, your abilities, and then start looking for opportunities on where you can offer your service, your product, and start investing, your time, even if you don't have money, even if you have to borrow to hire an expert, is the best investment that you are going to make. I will sell everything, go through your house and sell everything you don't need, and then find somebody who's been successful in a business trend that you want to get in, and then invest the time and commit to following what they're teaching you. And yeah, you might be stuck for a little bit, but it's better than staying in that spot forever.
That's right.
So that's what I will say. And take responsibility, full responsibility. Stop beating yourself up, and start just taking different steps to get to where you want to get. And it's okay, just take everything that you have learned up until now and use it.
That's right. I totally agree. So I am going to summarize what you said. The first was responsibility. It is about forgiveness. You cannot move on and you cannot be happy if you don't forgive. So forgiveness is very, very, very important for you. The other one is also investing in yourself. Also, she mentioned that model people that you want to be like, not the losers that you have around you, the ones that you want to be like. You got to model those people. And find yourself a coach. Somebody, invest in yourself. So if you're interested in finding a coach, and this woman you are interested in, don't forget to look at her information right down here, and you can see her name is mariaerazo.com, mariaerazo.com, and she's also on YouTube. You can find her there, and she's also on Facebook. I saw that she had like a couple pages on Facebook, and you can follow her around. And if she said something that you like, email her. Ask her a question. Oh, I heard you said all that stuff. Tell me, what do you think about this? Okay, but remember, she's also a business coach. So if you have a business idea and you want to present it to her, go ahead and do so. This woman is amazing. Her story is amazing, and your story can be amazing too. But you have to stop looking at all the negative things that you have in front of you and begin to make that decision. You remember she said that decision? Make that decision that you want to change your life. Be tired of living a life of disappointment and negativity. Be tired of being tired, and then you're going to be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve. I love bringing people to this show, so thank you for listening to us here at enVivolive, and that is El Código on Tuesdays in Spanish, and the code on Thursdays in English. And I am going to shut up, and I'm going to let her close with a magic word, and that is:
be extraordinary and maximize your full potential.